out. It's a great day, beautiful day, and 70 degrees, January 26th. Can't beat that. So, we've been together since the semester started. A couple of weeks now, but excited about this team. Really because of the players within the team. Watching them grow and improve and come out in the fall on a mission, and that hunger and that drive, and it just hasn't stopped. And just watching a group of guys that have just been very, very persistent and intent on getting better and on earning our way as we go through this start of this preseason into the season, and just continuing to get better. It's just what we see as a coaching staff. We see guys that are just very driven right now, and so expect to have a great training session today, another great one tomorrow, another great one the next day, and just keep on this path of steady growth and improvement, and so we can earn the opportunity to get hot at the end and be one of those teams that is competing to be the last team standing. So we have no excuses. We feel like we've got enough pieces, and really excited to see how these pieces come together over the next few weeks leading up to the start of the season, and then seeing how it all evolves and how the roster continues to take shape as we figure out who goes where and establish roles as the season continues. We've never been, at least personally, never been a believer in the opening day lineup's going to match the end of the year lineup. I've actually never even seen that. Always seen a fluid situation, because things happen and guys improve and guys get opportunities. So really excited to watch how this evolves and watch us go and grow and get knocked down and get back up, and really show what the identity of Clemson baseball team 127 is throughout the course of this entire season.
What impact do you think Will Taylor punting football, so to speak, and devoting himself full-time to baseball will have in his game?
Well, I think it's all going to be positive. Every time I've talked about Will Taylor, I've talked about this is the first time in his life that he has specialized in baseball. And if we had a couple more hours right now, we'd talk about how bad of an idea it is for young kids to sport specialize, at a young age. And Will Taylor is who he is, the explosive athlete that he is, because he was an athlete first, and he sport sampled, and he played football and baseball and wrestled and other sports, and it has helped him become this dynamic player. And now that he is exclusively focusing on baseball, just seeing just another level of his progression, because he has the time to devote to it. So excited for him. Really appreciate his family, their willingness to give up a full scholarship in football to have no scholarship in baseball. And they talked about the gratitude that they have for Clemson University, for Coach Sweeney, the football staff, the people here who have enriched his life, and they were willing to make that sacrifice financially for what is an investment into his future, because I think everybody recognizes that he's got a very bright future in baseball. So really appreciate the Will Taylor, the Taylor family, and what Willie Taylor means to our program and the leadership that he exudes when he's out here.
What are the key attributes that you see in him as a baseball player?
Well, he's got all 5 tools. People, scouts, this grading system of 5 tools: hit for power, run, field, throw. He can do it all. There's nothing that he lacks. He's good in everything. And guys who are usually good in everything end up being great players. And so he's just very consistent. I was extremely impressed last year for a guy who's never specialized in baseball, and didn't have half the year's worth of repetitions to come out and have the plate decisions discipline that he had. Plate decisions is one of the things that we value. The ability to swing at strikes and take balls and make good decisions at the plate. And for a guy who missed the entire fall in terms of seeing live pitches, to come out and almost be in an in-season form of making really good decisions at the plate, I think is a big part of his game, and it allows him to play at the top of his ability level consistently.
Who are some of the names you see vying for spots in the starting rotation?
Well, everyone that started in the past. So guys that were in the weekend rotation last year at one point or another: Austin Gordon, Tristan Smith, Ethan Darden, Joe Allen, Billy Barlow, Rocco Reed. We feel like we've got some good options there. We transferred Matt Marshall, started a lot in his career. It feels like I'm missing somebody as well. But yeah, we feel really good about the depth of the pitching staff on the starting end, and feel just as good about the depth of the bullpen as well, working from back to front.
Tristan Smith specifically, how have you seen him grow coming into year 2?
Good, really good. He went out and he got great experience for us, simply because he pitched in a multitude of roles. He's a starter, he's a closer, he's a high leverage reliever. So having that's tough, because very few college programs don't, especially at our level, you don't really recruit relievers out of high school. You're always recruiting starting pitching, and so as a high school kid to come in and learn how to be a reliever, and then learn how to be a high leverage reliever, where hey, we need you, 5 minutes to be ready to go, when normally it takes 50 minutes as a starter to get. So it's a process that it's tough for freshmen that have never done it before to learn how to do that, but then to excel in those roles and get the experience in those roles. And then for him, the next step is going out in the summer and pitch very well in the Cape Cod League, was the second half All-Star, and pitched really, really well. And I think that's just any kid that does that. And we had a few All-Stars from the summer and position players as well, but the confidence boost you get from that is huge. And so he's brought a lot of confidence and a lot of another year of experience, another birthday. So he is poised to make the jump, and we have every expectation that he'll be the front of the rotation type guy.
And then piggybacking off of that, obviously a lot of people from the pitching rotation coming back. You took 2 Wofford transfers. How are they going to fit into the program in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, they're going to fit in great. They're both very talented. Matthew Marshall has the most starting experience of anyone on our team, and he could have gone to any team in the country, and that would have most likely been the case. Just brings a wealth of experience. So many innings pitched. I couldn't quote you on how many, but it's a lot, right? And he's done it very well. He's got credentials. He's got a resume of Division I success. He's a strike throwing machine. 3 pitches for strikes. Just one of those guys that the stuff isn't necessarily going to blow you away, but it's the pinpoint command that makes him very effective. And a lot of young kids, they go down the path of trying to develop their stuff and just de-emphasize command, but at our level, you've got to be able to throw strikes. With a pitching coach like Jimmy Bellinger, who is almost maniacal about 64% strikes in everything you do in the bullpen and everything, scrimmages, games. Like, we just put such a high emphasis on strikes and giving our defense a chance and going out and competing with a toughness and body language. So I think for guys like that who come in with that proclivity to command the ball and control the zone, Matt Marshall fits right in. Lucas Malstad, every coach, every team I've ever been on in college baseball, if you don't have an unconventional guy, you wish you did. And Lucas Malstad brings that, that Laredo sidearm, down under, submarine, slot change. I mean, it's hard to hit. You don't train it. You don't have BP throwers throwing it. You don't see it very often. And so he's got the combination of command plus stuff, plus durability. He's unique from the sense that he makes a lot of appearances. At Wofford, he did this. He made a lot of appearances, but he made a lot of appearances with multiple innings. So he's a workhorse as well. So I'm excited for him. Matt Marshall's slotted more for potential starter. Lucas slotted more for closer, high-end or high-leverage reliever along with Nick Clayton and Rob Hughes on the back end. But feel really good about our options and excited about the pitching staff.
You mentioned Lucas as a potential closer. I mean, are there other guys who are in competition with him right now, or is he ahead in that place?
No, that's the beautiful thing is nobody has been anointed. I'd say the only one that's, I could tell you today, Blake Wright's going to start in the infield. Outside of that, we've got, probably a two-deep rotation. And Cam Campanella, Bill Taylor, like there's a few guys. But, add a few. But yeah, there's no roles have been like etched in stone. Outside of, I'd say those three guys from a position player standpoint. We feel really good about Austin Gordon and Tristan Smith, and feel really good about some other options starting. Feel really good about Nick Clayton, Rob Hughes, and Lucas Marshall at the back end because they've all pitched in high leverage situations at the back end before. But saying this guy's our closer, I don't know. I don't know if we'll do that. We may say these guys are our closers. And depending on the game, we may be able to go to those guys earlier. It may be a close game, and we may use all three of them. Not have to need the starter to go 6 or 7 innings. So I think these are all things we're going to figure out. These are all good problems to have, but there's definitely going to be a figuring it out phase for us as coaches as we figure out what the best 9 guys are and what the best grouping of pitchers are out there for a weekend rotation and in the back end and the middle.
I guess coming out of the fall, you knew Kenny Cantarella was a freshman who was going to play. Were there any freshmen that separated themselves in the fall?
What we've seen of the freshmen is that we've got some really explosive, athletic newcomers that are going to provide a spark. Jaron Purify and Devin Parks, stand out of the position players, of the freshmen, and those guys are going to be stars and household names, and those are guys that I would guess would might even find their way into the lineup when it's all said and done pretty consistently. There is a laundry list of pitchers that have made incredible impressions from the fall, from Aiden Canuck and Justin McGurnick, Drew Titsworth, all of them, really. I mean, my gosh, it's one of the more impressive freshman groups of pitchers that I've seen. Feel really good about the future of these guys. Finding them innings is going to be very important. There's just a lot of experience out there now. They have some stuff too now. They just don't have the experience, but we're going to try to get them experience, and there's going to be some names that are in that mix. Some guys that were extremely impressive of that freshman group that it's going to be hard to keep them out, off the field, whether it's Devin and Jaron or Aiden Canuck and Justin McGurnick and Drew Titsworth. We're going to have to find ways to get them out there, for sure.
Offensively, losing a good amount of production. Outside of Cam and Will and Blake, who are some of the guys that are going to be turning heads, at least so far through spring practice, that you're going to be relying on offensively?
Well, it's a combination of guys who've been in the program, who got their feet wet last year, like Jack Crichton and Nate Hall, guys who've been patient in our program. Jack Crichton, Nate Hall, Jacob Jarrell, all had their moments last year and got good amounts of playing time. Guys who didn't get playing time but have been patient in the program, like Cooper Blauser, Nolan Araki. Those guys went out and were all-stars in their summer leagues and have been very impressive. And then it's all the new guys, the grad transfers, Jimmy Overtop, Jacob Hinderleiter, Andrew Chufo. Those guys have to play as well. Alden Mathis is going to play. He's got to be out there. He can play first or the outfield. So it's another good problem to have, because there's probably 13 or 14 hitters that need to get consistent playing time, and we can only write 9 in the lineup. So that's going to be a challenge for the coaches to not only to make sure that we are giving guys opportunities, but making sure that everybody stays positive and loves the team more than they love their individual role. But that's going to be a tough one. That's a real threat for us. Is we've got a very good team, but how are we going to get everybody out there?
As far as NIL, how close are you to being where you want to be or need to be from a fundraising standpoint?
How much time do we have? I'm glad you asked the question though, because it's it's a system that it feels like the goalposts keep moving, everything keeps changing, and it's just for an equivalency sport. I don't know how many times I can talk about this, not enough. But if you're an equivalency sport, if you're baseball, softball, soccer, anyone who's not full scholarship, the NIL dollars are not the same for equivalency sport athletes as they are for head count athletes. And I think everybody just needs to understand that NIL for equivalency sport athletes, those dollars are going to paying the cost of attendance. Because those athletes are on 25%, 30%, 40%, 50%. They're on a partial scholarship. So they need NIL dollars to pay their bills. It's not pay for play, it's pay their bills. And the problem with that is NIL is considered income, and so they're taxed on those dollars. Whereas if you get a scholarship is not income. You're not taxed on your scholarship. So it's a huge disadvantage for equivalency sport athletes, and until either scholarship limits are increased or removed, or the IRS says that you're tax exempt up to the cost of attendance for NIL, then we're going to continue to be at equivalency sport athletes are going to continue to be at that disadvantage. And I would encourage them, as much as you hear them clapping out there today, we need that type of energy among the equivalency sport athletes to, make some noise about that, right? I mean, why wouldn't they? And so for us specifically as a program, to answer your question, we're looking to, the goal for us is to be a head count sport, to use NIL to provide the opportunity for 40 players to say that they can come to Clemson and not have bills to pay for cost of attendance. So we have 11.7 scholarships, as everybody knows, which means 11.7 guys are on scholarship and 28.3 guys are not. So for us, when we're going out and we're looking to fundraise and we're looking to, what can we do in the NIL space, that's the starting point. Is we want to be able to have everybody that comes and plays here at least have their bills covered for what they owe for cost of attendance. And then if somebody goes out and does it, and and they want to monetize their name, image, and likeness, and a business wants to employ them to market or advertise or help them sell whatever, and they have an opportunity to monetize their name, image, and likeness, well, that was the original design of name, image, and likeness. And so I think that's great.
Is that goal currently within reach for you guys?
We got a long ways to go. A long ways to go. So we Clemson have our challenges, as does everyone. But yeah, we got a long ways to go to get to that level. But we'll need the help of the Clemson faithful, and we already have had a lot of people showing interest and wanting to step up, and I think it's more this unification of these efforts. The 110 Society was launched. We've got some very bright people in our administration working on it. And so everybody knows what the problems are, and the great thing I really appreciate here is the solution-oriented mindset of, how can we make this a great thing for our student athletes at Clemson. The student athletes are going to have to be active participants in it. There's no question about that.
Any time for one or two more? Anybody has any?
You had a really successful, obviously, year one here at Clemson. How do you build off that success in year two, and how are you guys going to specifically be defining success here?
Well, look, we don't measure our success by somebody else's opinion of a ranking. We want to be the #1 ranked team at getting better. Let's be the best at getting better. And if we can do that, then we'll be able to build off of last year's success. Ultimately, we had some bright spots. We have an ACC championship that we'll always be able to celebrate, but ultimately we finished not in Omaha. And we want to take the next step for this program and to bring a national championship to Clemson University for the Clemson baseball program. And so everything that we do is about improvement so that when that time does come, many months from now, when it's time to compete in the postseason, we have earned the opportunity to get hot. Because it's not the best team who wins, it's the team that plays the best. And in order to play the best, you got to earn that opportunity to get hot when it means the most. And so we'll take each day as an opportunity to get better, and let's be the best team in the country at getting better.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.